Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Ministry Moments, Lord willing, every Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And this is not a sermon. I'm not going to preach during this time. This is just a conversation between you and me. And hopefully, this will be able to. I'm in my 52nd year, soon to be my 53rd year of ministry. And I want to take people ask me questions and they email me, or when I'm in a meeting, they'll ask me. And then sometimes it intrigues me a little bit. And I feel like I need to take time on a Friday on Ministry Moments and kind of give a little insight, if I may. And so I want to talk to you today, very important subject. But I want to talk to you about the pastor and his family. The pastor and his family. It's in a day and time where listen. I wouldn't start over again for all the money in the world. I do exactly the same thing second time around that I did the first time, but it's so important for us to understand that this is generational. I want the next generation, after I'm gone in heaven, I want them at least to have a taste of what it's like to have that example. You've got to have exhortation is wonderful. Scream, holler, stomp, foam at the mouth, and preach all you want to. But boy, somebody's got to provide an example. And if you provide an example, God's going to take it, and boy, God will bless it in a great way. So today, I want to talk to you about the pastor and his family. I have four wonderful children, two boys, two girls. The two boys are pastors. The two girls want to pastor, but we won't let them. And then we've got 10 grandchildren, 16 great grandchildren, and still more to come, hopefully. And what a blessing, what a blessing, what a blessing. But let me talk to you about the pastor and his family. You'll only have those kids for a little bit, and it'll go fast like that, just for a little bit. And that's why it's important. And sometimes people say, how'd you get your kids to turn out right? Well, first of all, that's not the right question. The real question is, how'd you get them to do right? And my wife deserves all the credit. I was gone all the time, as any man, or especially a preacher, going to be busy. Boy, if you marry wrong, you're going to go wrong. Thank God. And she was 16 when I met her. I was smitten the first time I saw her, and I was a part of her salvation. She got saved at age 16 because she went to church, broke the Catholic tradition, and went to a Baptist church, and boy, it caused an uproar. But she got saved, got baptized, and then later on, my mama said to me, "Boy, Leanne's the girl you ought to really look at." Leanne, well, she had gotten saved, got baptized, was coming to church with us, and her dad, oh, he was not happy. But I was able to lead her mother to Christ. I don't know. Maybe her dad get saved. I don't know. I wasn't able to lead him to Christ. But and it does haunt me. It does bother me a lot. But uh, we because she had to fight for to do what was right. She had to struggle, but she did what was right. It was a struggle for her. It was not easy for her, but she took the good, the bad, the ugly, and God bless her. We were married 58 years. 58 years. Well, okay, enough of that. Let's get back to the pastor and his family. Number one, be the same at church as at home. Be the same at church as at home. And I could go vice versa. Be the same thing at home as you are in church. If you know my kids at home, they're sacrilegious. Cut up and laugh and have a grand old time. When Brother Howes went to heaven, we chartered a jet because there were so many people in the Dallas area that wanted to go to the funeral. And our kids were on there and they were cutting up with everybody. I mean, just sacrilegious, I'm telling you. And one of the stewardesses said, well, where y'all, what's this chartered flight for? And they said, well, our pastor went to heaven. We're going to a funeral. And the stewardess said, the way you guys are cutting up, you'd think it was a party. And they said, well, it is. It's a homegoing for our pastor. But anyway, be the same at church as at home. There should not be a dichotomy here. Number two, if you have family working on staff, have them call you preacher or pastor, but not dad. I made sure my two boys worked for me for a while, for a long while. And I don't call me dad. You call me preacher. You're going to work in this, be on the staff and work at the church or the college or the school or whatever it might be. On that property, I'm preacher. I'm preacher. Uh, there's a breakdown if you don't do that, and you just going to have to. That's good for everybody. That way they know all ground's level ground. All right. Talk about the pastor and his family. Number one, be the same at church as you're at home, or the same at home as you are in church. Number two, if you have family working on staff, have them call you preacher or pastor, whatever you prefer, but not dad. Not dad. We've got a working atmosphere here we've got to keep. Number three, defend authorities, but have the right to question them without the presence of the children. Defend authorities. Scott came to me and he said, Dad, the principal doesn't like me. And I said, Son, I pay him to not like you. I don't want you being promoted because you're an apple polisher or because you're the preacher's pet or favorite. I don't want that. I want you to learn your algebra. I want you to learn your mathematics. I want you to learn all of it. Physics, I want you to learn it, know it, so that you can be your benefit. All right. So talk the pastor and his family. Number one, be the same at church as at home, home as at church. Number two, if you have family working on staff, then have them call you preacher or pastor, not dad. Number three, defend authorities, but have the right to question without the presence of your children. Now, if your kids complain about something, you automatically defend the authority. Not unless somebody gets drunk or does some stupid thing. You know what I'm talking about. But you just defend authority. But if you say to yourself, boy, there's something that doesn't sound quite right here, then you get them off to the side, the authority, and talk to them about it. Maybe you should help them to know how to handle situations. Maybe you should. Scott, one time, I forget what grade he was in. You got to love these boys. He come, the teacher, one of his classes, come over and said, "You need to know what your son did in class today." I said, "Oh boy, what'd Scott do?" Something was there was changing words between the teacher and Scott. Scott said, "You know something? I could have you fired just like that." And the teacher told me that. I took to Scott. Scott, did you say that? Yes, Dad, I did. He said, "You can't do that." So I sent the teacher out and set him straight. You can't do that, preacher's son. You can't do that. I'll tell you a funny story. He's pastoring at Liberty Baptist Church in Virginia, Raleigh, Durham. And that lady, when he made that statement to the husband and the wife, came to visit Scott on a Sunday morning. He didn't recognize them, but they knew him. And after the service, she said, "Do you remember us? We used to teach it." He said, "No, I don't remember." And so she told him who it was. Oh, I love it. Oh, the world calls it what? Karma. All right, pastor and his family. Number one, be the same at church as at home. Number two, if you have family working for you on staff, have them call you pastor or preacher, but not dad. Number three, defend authorities, but have the right to question them without the presence of the children. All right, I automatically going to defend the authority. But if I see something that's off base here, I'm going to talk to the principal. I'm going to talk to the teacher. I'm going to talk to the coach. I'm going to talk. I will if I think it's egregious. Now there are some things. Let it go. Good grief. Oh, that's not fair. Who said life was fair? My kids would say, "That's not fair." Well, I never taught you that life was fair. Life is not fair. Then number four, never criticize authorities. Number five, do not hold your church up or church. Don't hold your children up as being perfect. Number six, have the children work on a bus route. Number seven, never allow them to work at church time. There's Wednesday night Bible study, where's Thursday soul winning, Saturday bus route, or church. You're not working during church. You're just not going to do it. Number eight, family I'm sorry, family altar is a means to an end. The main thing is to get them to walk with God. The family altar is not the end. It's a means to an end. The end is get alone with God and read the Bible and let God speak to you. That's what it is, the purpose of it all. I remember Scott was little, we'd go sit in the room and he couldn't read, But I wanted him to have time with God alone. He didn't understand it all. But he'd come back, Dad, there's no pictures in here. 15 minutes and just thumbing. But I wanted to get in the habit of doing it. Then number 9, go soul winning with them. Go soul winning. They need to see you win souls to Christ. You go soul winning with them and build up a bank account of compassion. You're going to have to draw from it. But if you haven't got anything in the bank, if I ask you to give $1,000, you don't have it, you can't take it out of the bank. Compassion, build up compassion. And then that way you have to draw and pull out convictions every once in a while. And when you do that and you have to draw that out, it's because you have something in there that you can do that. So build up compassion. Build that bank account of compassion. And then when you have to draw it out, you draw it out. I'm talking about the pastor and his family. Number 1, be the same at church as at home. Number 2, if you have family working on staff, have them call you pastor or preacher, not dad. Number 4, never criticize authorities. Number 5, do not hold your children up as being perfect. Don't do that. They're not perfect. Don't hold them up like that. And always the example of perfection. Don't do that. Number 6, have the children work a bus route. Number 7, never allow them to work during church time. Number 8, family altars a means to an end. Don't forget that. The end is their personal walk with God. Then next, go soul winning with them. And then last of all, build up a bank account of compassion that you can draw from. But you can't draw from it if you don't have the bank account filled with compassion. Talking about the pastor and his family, there's going to be times, the authorities are going to jump all over your kids and you're going to have to just respect the authority. But if you feel like there's something that's wrong, well, get the authority off the side without your children there. But don't defend your kids because they're your kids. Talk about the family, the pastor and his family. Hope it helped you. God bless you. Every Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern time, you join us.